Today we are at our lovely new campus. We are hosting another episode of A New Way, and we have a special guest, Mr. Shigeo Katsu, President of Nazarbayev University. Thank you for joining us today. It's a bit unusual to sit on campus. It's so empty, it's so silent, and it's been a year of that time. And you changed dramatically, I guess, and transformed dramatically. Could you please mention three main things that about this change that attracted most of your time?
During the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yes.
Well, first of all, great to see you again. And I hope that through today's nice discussion, our alumni and everybody will sort of get a sense of, this is what the university is about. Unfortunately, our students are not here, and faculty is also, also it's a Saturday, but yes, over the last 14 months, I think our lives have been dramatically changed. And you asked, how has it affected Nazarbayev University? First of all, overnight almost, all the classes have been put online. This was, in a way, a pandemic-induced, forced digitalization that has taken place. Not all is bad, but of course, considering that many of our students live in pretty tough conditions, suddenly they had to get used to a new learning environment. They're in a cramped area, competing for computer time, maybe the Wi-Fi doesn't work or connections to the internet's not so good, and so I think there's been a real, hardship that has been there, but also one has to admit that for faculty, for the professors, shifting over has also been quite a challenge because it's not the same teaching. So I think moving to online has been a big major adjustment. Not all bad, but we've also learned a lot. I think the second biggest shock for an adjustment that we needed to do is for our students but everybody else in this community, physical contacts, interactions is what university life is all about, building networks, a sense of community. You guys went through all this, so you know very well. And not being able to meet with each other. It has been really a big, impediment and handicap. And, the challenges of building a community through distance is there. We are still grappling with it. And I would say the third biggest sort of change and challenge that we see is when it combines the first, remote learning, the second, not being able to be together, create a community, and so I really am worried about the state of the mental health of our community overall. Society overall has been, affected. You see many more probably mental health cases throughout, not just here, but globally. It is radicalizing the way people talk to each other, or even, you see it on the internet and so. And people act out their, frustrations much more. Managing the mental health of community members has been, I think, one of the challenges. And of course, vaccination then is starting to come on stream finally. And I hope that, I know that there is a lot of vaccine hesitancy, but, unless we continue to maintain good distance, PCR testing, good hygiene, wearing masks, but complemented with, vaccination, we will not be able to get back together. So please, everybody, try to get your vaccine. I use this opportunity to appeal to everybody as well.
Mr. Katsu, you mentioned that you had a new staff. I was a staff member, and I know that we had some digital documentation systems, and you students had a Moodle system. It was a half digital, half offline. Now it moved completely to online. But when it's all over, hopefully, how is the future of a new life will be? Will it be completely offline as it was used to be, or some mixture?
I imagine, I mean, this is purely strictly imagining and maybe even speculating. When I said the forced digitalization was not all bad, in a way we learned a lot how to use technologies. And fighting against modern and digital technologies is useless in a way, because if we don't do it, everybody else is doing, and we will be left behind. No? So I think the post-COVID future, it will not be exactly as before, because all the precautions still have to stay in place. We are all wondering when will be the next COVID type pandemic. So I think it's going to be a form of hybrid, delivery of courses. Maybe, for instance, the big ones like the 101 in math and the 101, the big classroom things can be maybe delivered more online. And the classrooms can be used more for discussions. And of course, the more seminar type and workshop type of classes would be much more in person. Laboratory work will have to be in person, and so there will be combination. But also what we will certainly start to explore is, in the meantime, not just us, the colleagues in other universities with whom we have partnerships and alliances, they also shifted online. So now we're going to explore whether our students can start to take their courses as they go, and their students can start to take our courses and so on. So we are going to hopefully be able to offering a much richer set of classes, which also leads to more competitive urges, and our students get to know other university students and professors and so on. There will be new forms of collaboration as well as competition. So I hope it's going to be very exciting, and that will lead to joint research activities and hopefully new innovation.
And Mr. Katsu, you also said that large part of university life is about the community, meeting each other, talking to each other, which is a problem not only for students but only for faculty and staff members. Is it possible to catch this all up or somehow compensate it online? What are the instruments, maybe the ways how to create that community when we are apart?
I think trial and error. I mean, we have to try. And I see it with some of our faculty who are more experiment oriented. And so they try to create a virtual community through online. The way that they ask, even on an online basis, to give group tasks and team-oriented tasks. And so that among students, they are
additional headache.
Maybe a headache, but also incentives to form teams. And so. And I think the technology is also advanced so that you can do joint work using the same electronic interface. And so I think there's going to be more and more of this group-oriented activities and actions that can be carried out, and that can span pretty much all schools and all disciplines. So,
Mr. Katsu, let's get back to the early 2010s. So when I came here, when I came here in 2012, it was a really small community, 3 blocks of dormitory. We know each other in the face, and I remember that time as a period of waiting for something. You were waiting for new dorms, for new extensions, for new buildings, for new parking, for new pool. And what was the thing that you waited most in the first year of university?
What I waited most for a new culture to emerge. That would transform just a gathering of people into something that they can identify with. And of course it has taken a few years to get there, but yeah.
And what is the new culture today?
It still is evolving. I think once we think we have developed the culture, it means we already then at that point become a little bit, too rigid. Our culture, I hope, is, and do you remember your graduate attributes?
Yep, 8 graduate attributes.
Okay. I want this to be really a living, a new culture. In order to really become leaders, and leaders, future leaders, leading maybe the nation, communities, in your professional lives, you have to have the attributes of being a leader. And one of the most important increasingly that I started to pay attention, because I take it for granted, all our graduates are smart. They are hopefully, you know, they are mastering their disciplines, they know how to communicate, all these things, no? It's ethics. In order to be a good citizen, good professional, good leader, we have to have good ethics and values. Especially in a world where we are increasingly driven by digital forces and where building communities is more complex. I think we need to create this community that is joined through common principles and ethics and views and values. I think that hopefully will set us a new community apart.
You thought that you were waiting for the new culture to form somehow. What is the thing that you were like saw during the last 10 years and said, that's great achievement, I'm proud of it?
To see where our alumni are going, you see? Now we have 6 cohorts. We have 4,700, 800 alumni, formal alumni. Watching you guys, you know, how you start to make an impact and start to set roots throughout the Kazakhstan community, overall in the country, but also some are abroad, and see how hopefully a new culture will start to be projected out. That for me is what I'm really excited about. And of course, a quest for excellence. I want everybody to also move, not just be happy with where you are, be in a comfort zone. I hope everybody continuously challenges themselves to get outside of the comfort zone, you know, and move up, constantly moving up the next levels.
And you have mentioned it several times that we are spreading new people around Kazakhstan, and at some point there will be critical mass of people who can make changes. But frankly speaking, like it's really difficult for a small community or you alone to make changes in a big organization.
I think each one, I hope, of our alumni carries the DNA of Nazarbayev University in them, no? And it's by living the values and the attributes of NU, hopefully you are able to start to convince your co-workers, the people around you, at work, in private life, your circle of friends, so that they start to take note and say, aha, this guy or this lady, you know, they have something we would like to pursue more and get to know more. It's, you know, by gradually building one person at a time.
Okay.
You know.
It's a big milestone for us, like 1 year, 1 decade of NU. Like we couldn't celebrate it, but still it's a small step in our hopefully future, long history in the future. What should be the next step, the second one?
Well, I mean, 10 years, so far so good, okay? We are now, at least here in Kazakhstan, established ourselves as a university everybody looks to as, you know, being different from others because we pursue excellence. We have, everything is merit-based, you know, and hopefully the way that our students as well as our alumni come across is that they have great potential, but also very considerate and inclusive in their thinking. Okay, but our mandate that our founder, you know, Yelvasi has given to us is, okay, don't content yourself just with being that. Our mandate's very clear. Nazarbayev University has to become an international university in the true sense. A place where we are known for high quality teaching, but also high quality research and contribution through research to innovation and, you know, hopefully make a difference in the national economy in the future. We are also therefore asked to not only do it with our traditional schools, but also in the medical side, entrepreneurship and others. No? And so that's where in the next 10 years we have to really focus on becoming internationally, measuring ourselves internationally in terms of the benchmarking and so, but also start to really focus on how can we really make a difference in Kazakhstan's economy and society. We started to learn how to walk. Now we need to step up and then jump.
To the sky.
Hopefully, yes. We need to continuously, therefore, I was thinking just earlier today about this. What have you learned from the first 10 years, Because in moving forward, the one thing is we cannot be perfectionist, We cannot have 100% foresight. And if we just wait in doing things until we have the perfect solution, we will never get there. In a way, we started to build the university while the plane is already flying, no? Or the plane was being built while it started to take off. And that meant that we could not be perfectionists, but we followed good instincts and good sense. And we had checkpoints to tell us where we went off or not. But the second part is also that we need to constantly get out of our comfort zone, because we need to constantly challenge ourselves. That requires also setting new goals that I mentioned and trying to make sure that we get there. And that requires a lot of constant innovation, constant transformation of our institutions. That's why we launched the whole our transformation exercise, our restructuring exercise recently, and so on. And third, importantly, we need to make sure that, building an institution is a marathon. But you remember yourself, all our students, meaning you guys, alumni, but also all our faculty, all our staff, everybody involved with Nazarbayev University has been running this marathon as if it's a 100-meter sprint. So this inevitably, it's human nature. People get fatigued and burn out, and so we need to constantly also think about how do we motivate them, how do we set new targets, and so it's sort of, while thinking big, also paying attention to these day-to-day things that we need to make sure that we move forward. And you guys can help us a lot.
Let's talk about the ways we can help that a lot. But before that, Mr. Katsu, you say that we, and you had a big aim, we were moving there. But I remember the times when we had 4 deans in 2 years at my school of engineering. And I know that as a staff member, there was a lot of changes in the staff member. Also, we had times when you changed the provost, the deans. As a manager, how do you overcome these challenges and ensure that there is some continuity? Yes.
If we try to strive for excellence, and if we want to be accountable to our students, but also to our authorizing environment, we have to make sure that we get the right people. And if it turns out that the first generation or the first group of leaders, academic leaders, and so were in the end not the right fit for us, then we have to move on and find those who are right fit for us. It's not to say that they were not capable or no, but we try to build a certain type of institution, and not everybody is a good fit for us. So, when we see we cannot have this fit, then we need to move on. So that's what we have been doing. And now we are getting closer to a place where there's a fit between the individual leaders, academic leaders and professors and what we try to do, the fit is much better there. The one obviously, and we continue to be able to recruit well, and I think the quality of our faculty is constantly improving. So I think it reflects that also, hopefully gradually, and hopefully it will continue, Nazarbayev University's name starts to be better known. In the very beginning, and I'm very thankful to first years, generation of students as well as faculty, everybody took a big chance and risk. We were all jumping off a cliff together. Now we are, better known. So I think also the faculty that joins us now, students that join us now, they have certain image already in a way clearer. And it helps us, but also we cannot, stay in a comfort zone. We have to continuously move forward.
So, and what is the role of NU alumni in the next 10 years in sustaining this reputation and growing it further?
Well, multiple roles. For one thing is, and I said, NU alumni are going to be build the reputation of our university. The more successful our alumni, the more the university's reputation will rise. And more people want to be part of us. Okay? So the role of alumni is very, very important, and your responsibility is very important. But also, linked to that, alumni are the ambassadors. You carry our DNA. Right now, I talked about 4,700, but we also have about more than 6,000 current students. They will soon graduate. By 2025, hopefully we have, 10,000 alumni plus, 7,000 students or so. So we start to approach, Boloshak dimensions in a way, But with the difference that everybody's here and everybody has been embedded here. You guys are going to start to, as I always say, carry our DNA abroad. You are our ambassadors. You're going to be the link between university and society, and convey why we exist, what we try to do. Hopefully the goals and ambitions of our founder are going to be translated into reality through you. So your role is, both as the ambassadors, but also your success is important. And third, your feedback to us. You are now our ambassadors who live in real life, in your workplace or other academic life, scientists, and so. Please stay in touch with us, and please inform us as to what should we do better. What direction should we maybe encourage to take on? And so your role is very, very important there. Lastly, tell us because your success stories are going to inspire our students. The future students, current and future students, they want to learn from you. And hopefully some of you will become really successful and become rich. Why not? Please also think of giving back, not only through feedback, also financially, help our endowment and so on, okay?
You have recently, in your alumni, been appointed as a chairman of the Samruk Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
So like a first time, such a high-ranked position was taken by new alumni. Mr. Katsu, so we mentioned the financial donations of new alumni. One of the fears of new applicants was that there is no accreditation, but it's okay now. Further is what will happen next. How will university sustain itself financially? Could you please tell more about the plans? Only thing we heard is that you bought one bank, then another, then third one. Could you please tell us more about how university will be sustainable?
Okay, we have been extremely lucky. Okay? Government early on decided, okay, we are going to shift all the funding for undergraduate education from Boloshak to Nazarbayev University, Okay. Then it also expanded to include also parts of the graduate studies portion. So So we have been very much beneficiaries of the grants, education grants. But of course, as we grow, we cannot continue to demand go to government and say, please, fund all of our students. It's also not very good because it creates such a dependency syndrome. We are going to do a number of things. One is we will try to tell government, okay, please continue to fund, because reducing while we are trying to grow is not really helpful, but we don't want to continue to ask more and more. We want to cap it, but allow us to manage the state grants more flexibly, so that we can create a tuition curve. And we were going to have more students paying tuition, like everywhere else. And that could be, from 100% tuition, stipend, scholarships, grants, on a merit basis, but also needs basis to, those who can afford maybe 50% and less. There will always be a subsidy element, I think, because, our cost structure simply is more expensive because we offer international and world-class education with international faculty. But then, in order to also reduce our financial dependency, this is where our endowment and endowment-related activities come in. And, one of the ways of how it was a bold move, a risky move, has been to use our endowment resources also more creatively. And so we were asked, we started out very small and simply with a niche bank. That was because we wanted to protect ourselves. You all know about the vulnerabilities and fragility of the Kazakhstan banking system in recent years. And so that our own deposits and everything is secure. In the end, we decided, okay, the only way is to acquire small, financial institutions. The national bank, the central bank, actually helped us. And we started to mind our own business, and then some of the big banks started to fall into acute distress. Basically, they were bankrupt, and the authorities had a choice either to close them down, but for a number of political, social, economic reasons, it was decided that they were too important to close down. And then they looked around, and then in the end, put their eyes to us and said, "Oh, you still have you have a great reputation, clean reputation, and you have some money in the endowment funds. Please take over the bank." So that's how it started. We've been organizing that particular bank and new strategies, new directions, and so on. And while doing so, another bank fell into distress, and again they came and said, "Could you please get engaged, do something?" And but each time it requires major risk-taking, soul-searching, and obviously decisive initiatives of a few and decision-making. So we moved ahead and now have another one. But the purpose of all this is what? Not that we focus just on new commercial or financial endeavors. We've created now an ecosystem whereby all the benefits, dividends and so, of these financial and commercial activities are plowed back and go to fund Nazarbayev University and also Niche, because they're our sister organization, so that we are over time going to be a little bit less dependent on government funding, because government has not just only funded us in the past with the state grants, education grants, but also all the splendid buildings, were built by the taxpayers. And we know that they cannot continue that. The crisis is hitting Kazakhstan very hard. The government coffers are empty, oil prices are down. So, you know, we cannot expect the same, you know, financial outlays as we were able to because we were a startup at the time. Really. So now we have to find other ways. So a lot of the dividends and so will hopefully move much more into capital investment type of thing.
But at the same time, like there is a joke saying that the Harvard University is not a university; it's an investment fund with the university inside. Saying that it's a big organization that invests their assets and get the dividends. It's quite unusual that university not only invests its endowment, but rather creates some commercial company with an ecosystem, competing with the market companies. It's a big risk, or it's a big challenge.
It is. I mean, Harvard is a private university with a private endowment. It's sort of and separately chartered. I mean, you know, in the US, believe me, if Harvard could do other commercial things, they would do it in a heartbeat. But there are regulatory differences. Okay? If Harvard or Stanford, all these endowments, big private universities, if they could create something that we would have created, I'm sure that they would have long gone into these things. But they're regulatory, you know, parts. Here, in a way, we are fortunate. But, you know, we don't put all the eggs in one basket. So our endowments are not fully just invested in the commercial things. But they are also, there's a portion that is invested very prudently and so on, continues. But if we want to grow our endowments, then we also have to take certain good, well-taken risks. And by also getting involved in these activities, we also try to change financial services a little bit in a way that we have changed higher education. So bring in a more transparent way of managing, you know, sort of be a disruptor also for financial services, as we've been doing with education, while also, you know, respecting our values. So, and then if one of the big challenges for Kazakhstan is, for its economic and social development, is to reintroduce good, sound financial intermediation so that the financial system starts to work again. Hopefully we can contribute to that as well.
Mr. Katsu, we had a meeting in Almaty when NU was presenting its strategy, exploring the city, and one of the aims you mentioned was to establish connections with the business in Almaty. What are the practical ways when, apart from the paid research, when the university and business can cooperate together?
Well, obviously, collaboration between university and business is a two-way street. At one dimension, at one level, the business community hopes to recruit highly talented, you know, human resources from the universities. You know, so our alumni or future alumni, they look at them as, our future recruits, and so the best ones hopefully come. That's already one way. But at the same time, why do they recruit us, and why do they look also at Nazarbayev University, not only students but faculty? Because they see universities are uniquely placed to identify new knowledge, insights that come from research, and they would very much like to collaborate so that they can tap our knowledge and combine with their business knowledge to create and contribute to the creation of new products, systems, you know, services, physical but also non-physical, therefore products and services. And on our side, obviously the interest is, okay, we learn from the marketplace. And of course, they will also hopefully finance our activities. So there's going to be a great scope for collaboration. And that's what we hope we are going to be able to establish also in Almaty. My hope is that here in Nur Sultan, just on the other side of Turan, and so We're going to really establish research laboratories of both big national, they can also be small, and international companies. So that, big international firms do not look at Kazakhstan only as a consumer market, but more as a place where they can be inspired by our research in order to develop unique new products or gain new research insights and so on. So we really want to make sure that there's going to be a value added that's created. So that's one dimension of Almaty. The other is obviously we want to tap, as I said, and follow our alumni. What you guys are up to, how you're going to develop. You are our ambassadors. Your success is our success, as I said, and so on. And of course, we want to reach out to other universities as well, and academia, because increasingly, we want to have this collaboration. Our provost already set into place this collaborative research program. So we want to attract talented researchers from wherever they are in Kazakhstan, but many of them are in Almaty, to join us and do joint research. Okay? We happen to have good facilities, so we are really already an open facility. And then of course, we want to show to the next generation students that Nazarbayev University is not just somewhere far away or in Nur Sultan, it's here as well. So we will also start to hopefully start to be present also in the academic sense.
Mr. Katsu, thank you very much for your interesting discussion. In the end of the interview, could you please tell us a couple of advices to our alumni and students who are really tired of this pandemic, sitting in their homes with 5 siblings, or maybe working from home or studying from home? How to keep positive state of mind?
It's been tough on all of us, on everybody. And let me really acknowledge your hardship, okay? And really thank you, but also congratulate you all that you have persevered until now, okay? Perseverance, resilience has been there. But don't give up now. We're almost there because vaccination has started. Yes, we now have a surge, but what we've learned also is if we all behave responsibly and prudently, take precautions, the pandemic can be managed. And please become good examples and model, responsible behavior, and, so that we together can get out of it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We start to see the light, okay? We start to see the light. This fall, we want to already, if at all possible, start to move to a much more hybrid model, in our activities. University without students is empty. It's a sad place. We need you guys back.
Thank you very much. Hope to meet in a crowded campus next time.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.